November 27, 2025. Russia launched Soyuz MS-28 to the ISS carrying 3 crew members. The rocket cleared the tower, docking completed flawlessly in just over 3 hours. But seconds after liftoff, their only operational launch pad collapsed into the flame trench. What caused a 64-year-old Soviet structure to fail at the worst possible moment? And how did one forgotten step nearly strand Russia's entire space program? Let's dive right in. Site 31 at Baikonur Cosmodrome isn't just any launch pad. It's a monument to Soviet engineering, standing for 64 years and handling over 500 successful launches. This structure witnessed Yuri Gagarin's era, survived the Cold War, and kept launching cosmonauts long after the Soviet Union collapsed. But age catches up with everything, even legends. How much longer can Russia depend on infrastructure built when Kennedy was president? The Soyuz 2.1 rocket carrying MS-28 lifted off at 9:30 a.m. local time. Sergei Ryzhikov, Sergei Kudzverchkov, and NASA astronaut Chris Williams were strapped inside, heading for an express route to the ISS. The spacecraft completed docking with the Razvet module in just over 3 hours, a remarkably fast 2-orbit rendezvous. Compare that to China's recent Shenzhou 22 rescue mission on November 25th, which took about 30 minutes longer despite using brand new hardware. Russia was still proving that decades-old technology, when executed perfectly, could outperform the competition. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Just seconds after the rocket cleared the tower, the mobile service platform beneath it gave way. A 20-ton metal structure collapsed straight into the flame trench, destroyed by the shockwave from Soyuz's engines. Roscosmos posted an update on their Telegram channel trying to downplay the situation, stating that the launch pad's condition was being assessed and all necessary spare components were available for repairs. The investigation revealed something worse than structural failure. This wasn't about old Soviet concrete crumbling under stress. Someone forgot to secure the service platform before launch, a basic pre-flight checklist item overlooked. That massive platform sat directly under the rocket, unlocked, and when 300 tons of thrust ignited, it got thrown like a toy into the trench below. What does it say about an organization when human error, not equipment age, becomes the breaking point? Roscosmos now faces a crisis that hasn't existed since 1961. Site 31 was their only operational launch pad for crewed Soyuz and Progress cargo missions. Site 1/5 has been inactive for years. Vostochny Cosmodrome, Russia's ambitious new spaceport under construction since 2016, still isn't certified for human spaceflight. The Angara rocket family designed to replace Soyuz in free Russia from dependence on Kazakhstan's Baikonur remains in development limbo, underfunded and behind schedule. Without Site 31, Russia cannot send astronauts or cargo to the ISS. Not next month. Possibly not for an entire year. The first casualty is Progress MS-33, scheduled for mid-December 2025. That mission was supposed to deliver oxygen, water, food, and propellant to reboost the station's orbit. Now it's delayed indefinitely. Soyuz MS-29 in 2026, the next crewed rotation, is also in jeopardy. Think about what this means for the cosmonauts already aboard the ISS. Ryzhikov, Kudzverchkov, and Williams were expecting an 8-month mission. Now they might be stuck in orbit significantly longer, stretching supply margins and putting physical and mental strain on the entire crew. The station needs regular propellant deliveries to maintain its orbit, fighting atmospheric drag that slowly pulls it toward Earth. Without Progress flights, who keeps the ISS from falling? Enter SpaceX. By the end of 2025, the company has logged over 40 consecutive successful flights with a flawless 100% success rate. Cargo Dragon can haul nearly 3,500 kilograms per mission, matching or exceeding Progress capacity. Crew Dragon has become the most reliable crewed spacecraft currently flying, with the flexibility to add extra seats for Russian cosmonauts if needed. SpaceX's real advantage isn't just reliability, it's cadence. With a formal agreement, they could add 1 or 2 additional cargo flights and even squeeze in an extra crew rotation within months. The geopolitical irony is thick. Russia and the United States are locked in tensions over Ukraine, sanctions, and global influence. Yet the ISS remains the last symbol of cooperation between the two nations in space. And right now, Roscosmos doesn't have a backup plan. SpaceX isn't just helping, they're the only option standing between the 25-year-old station and a supply crisis. What happens when your competitor becomes your lifeline? Russia's space budget tells the broader story. The war in Ukraine is consuming over $100 billion annually in military spending. Roscosmos saw its funding slash from roughly $3.5 billion down to about $2.5 billion in 2025. Crewed Soyuz missions dropped from 4 every 2 years to just 3. The Yenisei Super Heavy rocket program, Russia's answer to SpaceX's Starship, has been shelved indefinitely. When infrastructure maintenance becomes an afterthought and launch directors skip checklist items, you're watching systemic decline in real time. Meanwhile, SpaceX operates under a completely different philosophy. At Starbase, Texas, they're finishing 2 full Starship launch complexes, Pad 1 and Pad 2. On Florida's Space Coast, 3 more Starship pads are under development, 1 at LC-39A and 2 at SLC-37B. This isn't about redundancy for safety. Elon Musk's plan is launching 100 to 150 Starship missions per year by 2026 to 2027, meaning each pad could see 20 to 30 launches annually. If one pad needs maintenance or suffers damage, 4 others keep firing without pause. Contrast that with Roscosmos. One launch pad collapses, and the entire crewed spaceflight program grinds to a halt. One forgotten lock brings down decades of heritage. Russia is now pushing harder for cooperation with China, eyeing the Tiangong station and the planned Russian orbital service station from 2027 onward. But the war has clearly worsened their negotiating position, potentially increasing dependence on international partners and delaying joint programs. Can Russia remain a major spacefaring nation when it can't even maintain its own launch infrastructure? And then there's China, moving fast while Russia stumbles. Landspace is preparing the maiden flight of Zhuge-3, which could become China's first reusable orbital rocket. The Civil Aviation Administration of China announced airspace closures for a launch window between November 28th and 29th, 2025. Zhuge-3 will lift off from Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center with a planned landing roughly 390 kilometers southeast in Gansu Province. This is China's first attempt at recovering a rocket stage after an orbital-class launch. Landspace confirmed on November 25th that Zhuge-3 had rolled out to the launch pad. The rocket stands 66 meters tall with a 4.5-meter diameter and a launch mass of about 570 tons. It's powered by 9 TQ-12A methane-oxygen engines on the first stage, capable of lifting up to 21,000 kilograms to low Earth orbit in expendable mode, or around 18,300 kilograms when the boosters recovered. The stainless steel construction echoes SpaceX's Starship design philosophy, while the 9-engine configuration and downrange landing profile resemble Falcon 9's proven approach. China isn't just catching up. They're combining the best strategies from SpaceX's playbook with their own rapid development timelines and state backing. Landspace's spokesperson made it clear, if successful, Zhuge-3 will pave the way for deploying the Guang mega constellation while driving launch costs down to globally competitive levels. This is the new space race defined not by flags and footprints, but by cost per kilogram, launch cadence, and reusability. Russia once led the world in space exploration. First satellite, first human in orbit, first spacewalk by Alexei Leonov in 1965. Those achievements built a legacy that inspired generations. But legacy doesn't launch rockets. Funding does. Maintenance does. Attention to detail does. While SpaceX builds 5 launch pads and China develops reusable rockets, Russia is scrambling to repair the one pad keeping their program alive. The next few months will define Roscosmos' future. They can either rush repairs to Site 31 and restore some operational capability, or accept a harder truth. Their near-term survival in low Earth orbit now depends on an American private company. Either path reveals the same reality. The balance of power in human spaceflight has shifted, and it happened while everyone was watching. This incident exposed more than a structural failure. It revealed what happens when budgets shrink, when wars drain resources, when maintenance becomes optional, and when basic checklist items get skipped. Russia built the foundation of human spaceflight. They earned their place in history. But space doesn't care about legacy. It demands constant investment, relentless attention to detail, and the ability to adapt. SpaceX now holds the key to keeping the ISS operational. China is racing toward reusability with Zhuge 3, proving they've learned from both America's successes and Russia's struggles. The question isn't whether Russia can recover from this. They will eventually. The real question is whether they can compete in an era where launch costs are dropping, cadence is accelerating, and yesterday's achievements don't guarantee tomorrow's relevance. One forgotten lock, one collapsed launch pad, one moment that changed everything. That's how fast dominance can slip away in the space industry. What do you think? Can Russia rebuild its position, or is this the beginning of a long decline? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story opened your eyes to what's really happening in space right now, hit that like button and share this video. And if you want to stay ahead of the biggest developments in space technology, subscribe to Space Update 24 hours and turn on notifications. We're tracking every move, every launch, and every shift in this new space race. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.